Hello, everyone. I can't help it. I start the show and I get a big goofy grin on my face, and I want to start talking fast. I can't help it. Uh, um, Thanks for joining us. Lee's here again today. We had just talked because last week I was like, "Oh, what have we done? Like four of these?" And he just said today we did like 10. So time's been flying quick. How have you been, Lee?
Yeah, it's different from our usual "How are we, Lee?" Moments. Seeing as I'm at work again,
Yeah.
so it's just getting over the initial shock of working full work hours and allowing people into stores.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's okay. It's going all right. I'm alive still, and I'm not on fire, so it's
Okay,
always
good.
always
Yeah. I, how how long were you away from work? Like, from working regular. Like how long has that been?
Well, it's 3 months.
Okay.
December, just before Christmas, we went into our third lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's weird because when I go back, it is like I've not actually been away,
Yeah.
and I lose all the time that I've had off. Like,
Yeah, it's like it never happened.
yeah, it's the Bobby Ewing shower
Yeah.
syndrome. Yeah, so it's just getting back, but then it's because I haven't been because I do a fair amount of like physicality in my work, and it's getting
Yeah.
sort of like game fit again.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
been
Oh
very
yeah.
tired.
That always got to happen. Your body doesn't gets used to not doing it right away.
Mm.
Yeah.
Crimson's in the chat already.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, Crimson.
Hey Crimson, how are you?
What? Oh, wait. What did I want to pull up? Oh, names. So I want to get the names of these. Oh, wait. Profile. Here we go. All right. So I think I'm going to start with this one. So I'm going to do. I want to work on this one and this one. And then maybe depending this one. But I'm practicing not speaking like a spaz, so I want to just concentrate on doing a couple first. I'm like, don't try to rush it through and do too many. Um, so this one, let me find the author. There was some cool ones in here today. This is Cetra Head on Twitter. He said,
Yes.
here's my take on some assault intercessors. I laughed. I was like, good for him. I'm like, I guess I'm gonna do one of these because he got, or he or she, I don't know, they got more likes and retweets than my post did. And it was a reply to mine. So I was like, all right, the people voted. We got to do this. And I liked them. It was between, for me, it was between this one and there was one. It's the one of the beaky helmets with white that something about, I don't know, something about the beaky helmets on those or the how they look that is just awesome. So I chose this one. I love the shield, and I think the helmeted crest, kind of the throwback to Spartans, Romans, whatever, and then the glowing swords. I was like, all right, try to do that glowing sword or something, and just kind of it has nice focus on this model. So I don't want to get crazy with it, but I just want to put it somewhere, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, no, he's a really nice style, like well, bit of conversions. I don't know where that shield comes from, but it's yeah, Crimson just says it looks like a Minotaur, but with the Ultramarine colours,
Yeah.
which is quite funny because the Minotaurs, there was a bit of fluff saying that the Minotaur chapter actually banned from Ultramar
Oh.
because they once intervened in a dispute between two loyalist chapters. They were like honor battles, but honor fighting between these two
Oh. Okay.
chapters. The Minotaurs just came in and just obliterated them both, like smacked them upside the head, and was a
Yeah.
little bit overzealous with their behaviour. And Marnius Calgar had a standing order put out that if the Minotaurs ever come into the realm of Ultramar again, that they'll get their asses kicked.
And
So
then
yeah,
I so I don't know where I hid that. I didn't read this, but or maybe it was someone talking about it. And I don't know, spoiler alert, I don't even know where it comes from. But there was something about the Minotaurs or whatever were helping. It didn't they weren't they like almost traitorish or vaguely traitorish or something was going on with no?
No, the Minotaurs are one of the few chapters in 40k that are actually directly sort of subservient to the High Lords of Terror.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
And they are the basically like the punishers of the High Lords of Terror. So
Okay.
if you're going to go heretical, you're going to get a visit by the Minotaurs. And the thing about the Minotaurs is that when they deploy their entire chapter. So whereas you'd read stories about the fourth company of the Ultramarines going off and holding a subsector and taking
Yeah.
over a planet, they will deploy their entire chapter to one place and absolutely batter the hell
Oh, all right.
out of the enemy. There is a lot of because I actually did Minotaurs many years ago.
Gotcha.
One of the things about them is the gene seed, and it's like them and the Carcharodons, where people speculate, oh, they're from this traitor legion,
Gotcha.
etc. But the Minotaurs gene seed, as I said, there is a direct connection to a traitor legion, and that is they are from the gene seed of loyalist Iron Warriors.
Okay.
Because if you look at the way they're organized, the way they fight, and the way they deploy is exactly how the Iron Warriors used to do things. So I
Okay.
know that everyone goes, "Oh, they're siege specialists and breakers."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I knew that. Yeah.
Well,
Huh.
that's what the Minotaurs do, and they are, you know, that is their little thing that they. Because a lot of people think, "Oh, they're like world eaters." They're not. They're Iron Warriors. Especially like if you think about Iron Warriors have that sort of connection to sort of Greek
Yeah. Oh, true.
Spartans and stuff. Well, so do the Minotaurs. This instead of iron, they're bronze.
Yeah. Okay. See, I didn't know. See, this is part of my ongoing education. Fabi Z. Fabi Z.
Yeah,
Minotaurs specialize in fighting other Astartes, I think. All right.
yeah. Well, as I said, they are absolutely brutal, and it's like with the Badab campaign, which we've mentioned before, um, where the Astral Claws decided to succeed from the Imperium alongside the Lamenters and the
Yeah.
Mantis Warriors. Um, Loads of chapters went out there, and then eventually the Minotaurs turned up and started, bashing heads.
Yeah.
And everyone thought that was bad. And then the Charodons turned up, and things got even bloodier. But yeah,
Have
no,
you?
they are an awesome chapter, and you say they're
I don't know.
they're
I see. Wow, I don't know much about them because, like I say, it was pretty much around second and a little after I kind of floated away. So they were something new to me. I was like, oh, they're cool. I seen some cool stuff with them, and they've popped up. So, but I just didn't know much about them. Chris Topher says Minotaur's best chapter ever. I play them when I play my friends. I beat up Ultramarines.
well, there you go.
Hey,
See,
thanks
they've
for
not
thanks
fault.
for joining us all. And if you are enjoying this, please hit that like button because obviously it helps the algorithm. It's like the almighty algorithm. It's like this thing I don't
Worship
know
the
how it
algorithm.
works right, but I know it appeases the algorithm if the like buttons hit. So I would appreciate that, and I'm sure Lee would as well. And thanks for joining us. And if you have any questions, even if it's something I'm doing, like even about the program or what I'm thinking about drawing, or if you want to talk to Lee about Titanic, I get caught up listening to the lore because I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. And so I just get into that and kind of forget what I'm basically doing. So if anyone has any of those type questions, more than happy to.
Yeah, so it's they are a very awesome and badass
Okay.
chapter.
Good to know.
Yeah, so there's also like the Charodons, or space sharks. Um,
Okay. See, I know nothing about them.
See, a lot of people associate them as being part of the Night Lords or former Night Lords.
Gotcha.
They're actually, again, through stuff that you can, like little hints and clues
Mm-hmm.
and all that, they're actually Raven Guard.
Interesting.
Because back in the Heresy days, the back in the Heresy, right? So here's a briefing. You had
Give it to me.
the legions were founded on Terra, and
Yep.
each legion came from certain parts or certain cultures, and they went and made these huge armies. And then they went out, refound the Primarchs, and reunited the legions with the Primarchs wherever they were. And the Primarchs then basically started making more Astartes for the legions, but from their homeworlds.
Okay.
So, like with the Terran Raven Guard, where they were sort of recruited from were the Asiatic dust fields, which would loosely translate if Terra was back in modern day era and had
Yep.
ocean stuff. The Asiatic dust fields are basically like Laos, Vietnam, Korea, um,
Okay.
Southeast Asia, basically. And these guys, you could say, like, were like descendants of, like, the Gurkhas slash Vietnam,
Gotcha. Yeah.
Vietnam sort of thing. And they served with Horus whilst until they found Korax, basically. And he liked them because they were very efficient killers and very scary. Because basically they were like world eaters for ferocity, but they didn't lose their minds, if you know what I
Okay.
mean. They weren't going like frothing at the mouth, but they were very good at killing and stuff. Uh, and so when Korax took over, um, the former chapter master who was in charge of the Terran contingent and all that, a large number of them was basically just sent away. The 7th Battalion, under the command of the chapter master, I can't remember his name, was sent away to the edges of the galaxy as part of a fleet to sort of bring compliance. But
Gotcha.
Korax didn't want them around, so he sent a huge chunk of them away. And the Carcharodons like to hang out at the edges of the galaxy, and they come back in and they're incredibly bloodthirsty and killy. So there's that little connection, but also they had on their armor they had listed very tribal markings. And when you look at the heresy books, like the artwork for some of the Raven Guards, they have
Yep.
these very similar tribal markings on
Oh,
their
I think I
armor.
remember some of that. Right now, in the neighbor's cutting grass, so I'm sure that, but it should be over shortly.
It's either that or the FBI helicopters coming in for you again.
Yeah, yeah. No, we're not that busted yet.
So yes, so Carcharodons are alluded to be what were the Terran Raven Guard,
Okay.
and Red Scorpions are Emperor's children. So
So red scorpions I think red scorpions have been around for a while, haven't they?
yeah,
I think I
yeah.
remember. Okay.
Again, they're sort of like a Forge World chapter. So in the Forge World Imperial Armor books, they like to
Okay.
focus on chapters that weren't really sort of popular as such, and made them popular.
Okay, so good to know. Yeah, I didn't know. I was not. I know, and I mean I know why. I never saw them much, and I don't think I've owned any of those books. But I always heard people like talk about their like the artwork in them and how dense they were with stuff and everything. And I should have even like picked up some older ones just because I always loved those books. You know, probably grab a couple just for the sake of having some.
Yeah, the Imperial Armor books are just fantastic for what they used to put into them, sort of like making up this background for these specific sort of
Yeah,
engagements and battles and stuff. But also, as we've spoken before, where they've got all the artwork of the tanks with the different camo styles
hmm
to that sort of region and stuff. I said like the Badab books, which is over 2 books.
yeah.
So
That's
there was
just for
book
that. That's pretty crazy.
yeah, because there were so many sort of Space Marine chapters involved. Um, from that, I used that because I have a large Raptors. Well, I have a full company of Space Marines in Raptors colours, um, and I really like that because it gave a little bit more background to the Raptors chapter, who had been mentioned before in other books. Um, but I also like the fact that Raptors are one of the only Space Marine chapters that will utilize camouflage. So
Oh yeah.
you saw like on their plates where they had the Space Marines of Squad Number 2, and and they've got these like their armor's all beaten up because they were fighting in like a really corrosive atmosphere, like
Yeah.
swamp. But there was the major operation they were involved with was Operation Sedna, where it was like an icy tundra environment. So they changed their sort of armor color to sort of like a grayish color, and they were dropped off away from the objective, like 70 miles from the objective, and they marched to the objective on foot, no vehicles, and then took out the target. Um, so it was like pretty cool for Raptors, anyway.
All right, look at. Yeah, I was going to. That's funny that you mentioned that. I was going to try to. I want to put. I was trying to put some light, maybe like through his legs. I was going to try to go, basically. Right, this isn't the right tool, but kind of like it's pushing from behind, lighting this way, kind of like that. So I was going to try to play with some of the light on the ground, just to give it that little more depth.
There's a glow on his helmet as well. That's just picking up nicely.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some more. I know I want to do a little more on the red blade, so I'm gonna do. I want to add some kind of like sparkle.
And that was
Apparently,
almost 20 minutes past 7, and we've had our first sparkle, people.
and then the one they always say like the cowbell for that one guy from the SNL is gonna be like sparkle.
Sparkle is the word.
Yeah. Who knew? Who knew?
You had such a thing for sparkle.
Yeah. Who knew the Space Marines would be so sparkly?
Oh, the Fabi's the Red Tide is a good book to get into, in his opinion, which is Carcharodons or Charcar. No, it's
Okay.
Carcharodons. I'm sure it's Carcharodons.
I bought so I did of course so I had the Audible and I signed up and I think I had like 7 credits sitting there. So I already bought 2 books that I listened to and I had 7 credits and I was like, well, I have Patreons now and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'll give one of the members a book and I'll try it because I wanted to see about how gifting works. I was like, let me, try gifting one. I'm like, you support me is one of the things I have, so you can have a book. Um, I didn't know how it works, so I actually bought one for me, and then I thought I was transferring that one, but it was like because I didn't open it yet. So I'm like, oh, I gotta maybe just transfer it then. But somehow I botched it, so then I bought another one and transferred that one. So I got 2. So I got one, and Wolf Lord Lewis has one. And what was it? One was the first one was Warlord, and this is the second book in that series. it was Warlord, and then I can't remember off the top of my head. But anywho, it's about it's about Titan. So I was like, all right,
Titans, yeah.
I'll listen to it.
Is that Gav Thorpe?
I don't think so. I don't have it handy. Let me.
Grass cutting.
Of course, right now is when they cut. It's hilarious.
Of course, yeah. It must be a good day for cutting grass over there.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's cool enough out, so if it's not hot and whatever.
Mm-hmm. At the moment, out the back, so that direction, there's a park that backs onto where I live.
Okay.
And you get sort of like this training. They're doing all this training over there, and it was like at least sort of 30 people doing all these, like, flipping over tires.
Like CrossFit or whatever.
Yeah. So they've been doing it for must be a year or two now. So whenever lockdown's been lifted, they're over there, sort of thing, doing the ropey thingy and flippy thingy and exercise. I don't do exercises. I don't know what the technical names are for doing all these things. But they're over there en masse because everybody, since the lockdown lift over here, they've either been going to these cheap budget clothing stores over here called Primark, funnily enough.
Okay.
And there's been like huge queues. It's like people just going mental to buy stuff.
Yeah.
Or go to gyms.
I gotta buy something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's all good. Blade glue. Make sure I'm just caught up with what's going on in the chat.
Wait, I'm just muting for a second again while the lawnmower goes. And you ate, didn't you? We're not holding you up from eating, right?
No, I haven't eaten.
Oh, dude, you should. Yeah, we could. You're allowed, by the way. We can always hide you if you want to take some bites or whatever.
I think this is a good excuse for me to get a little takeaway on my way home because I was my plans fell apart because of traffic, and when I thought I'll just grab something, I just throw in a frying pan, just throw up, make a little like steak sandwich type thing. And Sam was busily cooking dinner for the kids, so I thought, okay, there's no room.
So, all right. Well, if you got at any point you got to take a break to eat something, let me know.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'll delay because obviously I've got the old role play session 8:30 for me, so I've got that to. I'll just nip out and it won't take 5 minutes. So just do it then.
You got some busy day, work, then a show, then role play.
Well, it fills up my day. It makes my day extra awesome.
Good. Hey, you only live once.
Exactly. Make the most of it.
We know, theoretically.
Well, yeah, unless you're a Buddhist.
Yeah.
I mean, really come as a big.
Or we're just wrong.
Yeah. I always like the thing about the that you die and then you see a light at the end of the tunnel, and then there's this thing where it says like the light at the end of the tunnel is that you're coming out of another. You're being birthed again.
Oh yeah.
You just get straight back in.
Yeah, it's like, no time to relax.
Get back out there. You just forget everything. Forget everything you learn.
Get back in there.
Yes, Crimson. Yeah. Primark. Yeah. Crimson, are you whereabouts are you, Crimson? Are you UK?
I don't think so. I don't know. Crimson will have to.
Where is everybody in the chat? Where are you from?
Oh, that's a good question, actually.
Yeah. We've never put it. This is our big 10th anniversary show. We want to find out about
our 10th anniversary. I should have promoted that with a big 10th anniversary sticker. Or
yeah, I got you a pen. Happy anniversary. There you go.
It counts.
There you go. Oh, Oh, I can't
I
hold
am.
anything up to the camera.
I am gonna do a couple, just like little swag things, almost just for me. You know, I've been pondering like a good shirt. I want to do a couple designs on a shirt, but I've been mulling it over because I don't want to just like, oh, here's a shirt. Like, you know what I mean? I want it to be something kind of tied to either what I'm doing or what I think with the community or whatever. You know, just I just want to design something sort of cool. So I was just gonna make a couple different little swag things for fun.
Hmm.
Oh, this is
Oh,
where King Crimson says Boston, Massachusetts.
well,
So
I
East
know of
Coast.
Boston. I know of Massachusetts. So welcome.
Yeah. So a couple people, like usually not too many people in the stateside get to make these because they're still, mostly working and everything.
Ah, guten Tag, Fabi Z. Wie geht's? I know a little German. I was
Oh,
learning
Fabi.
German.
I did not know Fabi's from Germany. Cool.
Yes, I used to occasionally holiday. Well, not in Germany, but via Germany.
I gotcha.
When I was younger, we used to go. My stepfather had an irrational fear of flying because back in those days there were a lot of planes falling
Oh,
out of the sky.
yeah. Yeah.
And so we had to go on holidays on coach. So it took us like 24 hours to go on holiday to it was mostly Austria or Switzerland.
Oh,
And a lot of times,
cool.
yeah, oh yeah,
I never
I
been there, and
enjoy
that's
driving.
I always wanted to go check out. I don't know if it's I don't know why. I don't know if it's the mountains I always see, but I don't know like that might be it because I'm trying to figure out why do I always think that. I'm always oh yeah, I
Hmm.
always want to go check that out.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, the Alps.
Yeah.
I've been on when I was in school. We went on a skiing trip to Mont Blanc, which is on the French-Italian border, um, and possibly German border as well, because it's like right, right there at the crux. Um, but the thing about Mont Blanc is it has had the longest tunnel through a mountain. It was like 7 miles long. Um, but it's, the mountains are
Really? That's a
fantastic. I love
long
the
tunnel
alpine
for
areas
that.
like Germany and Austria. Have got some really great sort of little like towns right by mountains, and it's just amazing to
Yeah.
sort of
I
visit those sort of areas.
I saw I was just flipping channels one time and they had a show about a river cruise, and I believe is it the Thames, the Thames, Thames? Is that the rivers? Like I that might have been the one they were going down, but anyway, I think it went past Germany and a bunch of other ones, and it was actually interesting to watch, and it did make me think. I'm like, wow, that is probably a great way to see all those cities because it went down the whole way and a bunch of stuff. I'm like looking at them through the from the water would be really cool to see a lot of them.
They're probably because did you say the Thames?
Yeah, I
Yes, the
think that
Thames.
Thames. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's England.
So maybe then I got the wrong one because
You're
this
the
one
wrong
was going
country.
by Germany, I think.
Yeah, that's Danube or
Yeah, there you go.
The Rhine,
Might have been the
which
Danube. It was
I think the Rhine goes quite a way through Europe, right down into sort of like southern
yeah. Now I
uh,
can't believe I don't
towards the
even know.
Mediterranean.
Yeah, because one of them was really long, but it went through like a bunch of different cities and everything, and I was like, oh wow, I just didn't ever seen one from that kind of perspective. I was like, that must be a cool little journey.
Mm. Yeah, no, the cruises. I always wanted to do the cruise down the Nile, where you like from Cairo down into Luxor,
Yeah.
like the Valley of the Kings, and yeah, see
Hmm.
pyramids, see the Valley of the Kings where they were buried before they invented
Gosh,
pyramids.
when you just think of a place like that, like when something like Egypt must have been in its heyday, and you were coming down the river looking at that, how crazy just to like, it's going to get to those points where with like VR games or just VR in general, you know what I mean? You're just going to be like coast down and they'll have like the redo of what it would have looked like and stuff. That'd be like
Hey,
amazing.
go on a cruise without leaving your home.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they're gonna do. You're like, here, go. You'll buy your expensive cruise package, and it'll just be VR goggles.
Yeah, no, it's uh, Danke Fabizi. I try. um, But no, as I say, I always enjoyed my journeying through sort of Europe. Been like Italy, I've been to France, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Denmark. I
Oh,
love
good.
Denmark. Denmark's lovely. Um, but obviously, if you want the mountains, you go down to sort of France, Germany, Austria for all the good stuff.
Okay, yeah. You know what? That's odd. I don't think of. I mean, I don't think of. Yeah, I guess it would be that part of France. I don't. I never really thought that much of France being mountainy, but yeah, the only place only I've been to the UK. Ireland. I've been out to the Azores, so Portugal. That was a trip. Azores were cool.
Hmm.
That was just interesting, just out there. Just little islands of the Atlantic. Beautiful weather. And their
Hmm.
flowers would get so huge there. Like they just get massive on that island. Like everything must have been perfect for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like a lot of the time people seldom go holiday in their own country
Yeah.
generally. They'll go somewhere exotic or something like that. But
Yeah.
there's some really nice places to get. Like in England, there's loads of places you can go, which are like really quaint
Yeah.
and beautiful sort of thing. Um, but you obviously the thing with us, like we've got all history,
Yeah. No,
with all the
that's a big, and that's the kind of stuff I love. So you can go and see, because America, it's not that old compared to over in Europe. So you don't see those, same things really at all.
yeah. But and say with America, you've got all like it's America, it's all big and it's all amazing. Sort of
Yeah.
thing. That's what we've been sold on anyway. But like there's like places around the world, um, like I I'm trying to think now. Like Japan is interesting. I've stopped over at Japan when I was going to Australia and New Zealand.
Okay.
Uh, and I only stayed in Narita Airport for 10 hours between connecting flights. And it's surreal, to say the least, because, I like to watch anime.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, when you've got like the ladies that work in the checkout, when you're booking into your flights and all that sort of thing, and they're going along as like a little gaggle of geese sort of thing, and they're all like, it's like they're wearing school uniforms. They have like the knee-high socks and the skirts, and you're going, this is, this is our checking ladies in London and like
Yeah.
in the UK are dressed like this sort of thing, and it's just very, very, it plays on that sort of archetype that you see on like anime films and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And
Um,
so Toffee Troll said that. He says, but America have an ancient history. Just look at the natives. And yes, what's funny here is, and it always bums me out because they don't get into it much. So if you really go dig, they have a lot of the mound builders, and so I'll get. I still get some of the old books. I think in like the 1840s or so, 1860s, depending what states, right? They did one of the first land surveys, and so all that stuff's public domain. And there was a couple people who were archaeologists back then, and they went through and they marked all the Native American mounds and where they were. So there's like a ton by the St. Louis River. There's a ton up, like Indiana, Illinois, all around the Great Lakes. And when you look at this map, it just blew me away because it's full scale, like cities basically. So it's just like all this stuff. And no one here ever talks about it. So most of the mounds are way long gone, and there was like tens of thousands. So you can see them like they're kind of tricky to find the maps. And I forget the names offhand, but you can dig them up, and they're all like open online. But it takes some like sifting to get through. And
mm,
it's some really cool history, and it's amazing the scale of it. And then the other thing is, there was something with like totems where they had them all marked, and you could see, so like they would have like five different totems like in this village, right? It'd be like a couple bear, a frog, and like an eagle, and then you would move, and then there would be like one eagle, more bears, more, and it was like representative of like those groups of people who was there. So
Mm.
that's what was, you know what I mean? I was like, oh wow, and someone laid it out nice, and I should have saved it better. I have to go through and dig all this up, but that was one of the things. And here there'll be a little bit of information like in a museum, but it's way better with the books and everything. And if you get really crazy, you can take the old maps and then you go to Google Earth and you really start to scour and you can see. I haven't yet found any of the actual mounds from the satellite, but you can tell the exact spots where they would be, and some of them haven't been built over. Like there was a lot by like the big cities because that's where the human centers were, but they got like like St. Louis. Like there was a ton in Detroit, and that all got bulldozed for the city, and there was a
Yeah.
ton in like Illinois because that's where they were, and they all got destroyed or whatever. But there's still some of the old ones they turned into like uh, uh, parks, not just normal parks, but they preserved some of them here. But there's still like a ton out there, and if you get real crafty, you can dig around for them. So that's one thing a lot of people even here don't really know about.
Well, that's the thing. It's down to how people interpret their own history.
Yeah.
Like from where I'm sitting here, I could go for like actually near to where I work. As I was saying to you, I work about an hour's drive away, about 40 minutes away on a good day. But there's a place down there called Loughton Camp, and this is it was just discovered once where somebody was walking through the woods and realised that the how the ground was set out.
Yeah.
It was all it was in I say in the forest, but they realised that this is basically like a Bronze Age settlement
Oh,
because
okay. Yeah.
like little sort of like um, not like a moat, but like a dry moat sort of thing, where they built it up and all that, and it fell down and stuff. But it's little things that if you was walking through the woods, you would not pay a blind bit of notice. You just go, oh, I'm going up a bit, I'm going down a bit.
Yeah.
But when these people go in there, they're like, oh my god, this is like, this is actually like an old Bronze Age, from over sort of 2,000 years old camp. People lived here. This was like
Yeah.
their little village and stuff. But you say like with like the mounds that you've got in North America, in South America, because I was out in Mexico back in 2003 in Cancun, and
Oh,
I
okay.
visited places like Tulum or Chichen Itza.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chichen Itza, if you want to have your mind blown, visit Chichen Itza,
Yeah.
because not only have you got like the pyramid things there, and they've got like this other ruins of like a marketplace,
Yeah.
ruins of an observatory. So obviously where they were stargazing and stuff. Their old sports center where they had the this game they played with this like rubber ball, and you could only
Oh
use
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
your hips
Yeah.
and your feet to put this rubber ball through a hole that was just slightly bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And if you won the game, the winning captain had the honor of having his head cut off.
Yeah.
So great. But the whole thing with this, where they built this Chichen Itza, like everything, they said, well, we're going to take you down to these cenotes where they got their water from. So like,
Yeah.
big pits goes under where the water table is underneath, so they could get all this water. And the guide stopped us and said, "Oh, you may notice that the we're on this like raised sort of like pathway, and you might notice that it drops off suddenly either side of us. So the trees are up higher there where the pyramids are back, like 100 meters that way or whatever.
Okay.
But it drops off about 4 meters." And you go, yes, there is a little bit of a drop there. We've noticed this. Thank you very much for pointing this out. And then the guy says, that is actually man-made. They built a 4-meter high platform from the surrounding area over acres and acres of ground to then build all the buildings that they built on top of it. And you're going, you what? and this has been up for how long? You know, it just you know, the building. It's like when the builders of the pyramids. You know, you just go, how the hell did they get it so exact, precise, and stuff like that? But yeah, it completely does your head in. It's like, how did they do it? You know, we can hardly build anything up decent nowadays. So I think, how do you build all this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, they really. It's amazing how, in some ways, how young like humanity is to me. I guess it just seems so like tiny in some regards, and yet we've already like forgotten so much different history, and people just don't know or got wiped away, just through time. It's amazing.
Psychologist to the Astartes. Hello, and no, we haven't. We haven't spoken about Dune.
I don't know if I haven't seen any updates on that. What I did see is an awesome Battle Sisters model. I don't know if did they release it Monday? Did you see that one with the shield in the halberd?
Yeah. I saw it because that's the Miniature Mondays that Games Workshop are doing, showing off that. There is something I did see that is actually Doom related, and that's the role play game that they've just brought out, and the books and all the paraphernalia for it look quite tasty, to say the least.
I didn't. So I assume tied to the movie or
So it's all done in the same sort of aesthetic.
Okay, that's what I meant. Good call. Yeah.
Morphidius, I believe, is the manufacturer or maker of the game.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks really quite nice, and some of the artwork in it is really, really good as well. My friend actually messaged me, sent over a picture of a Fremen from the artwork, and he's like going, "Core, look at that, it's awesome."
King Crimson says he's loving the new sister stuff. I saw that one. It was, I think the shield has like a bolter in it or whatever, and like that was all cool. I was like, wow, they doing something. It just looked good. I'm gonna start painting over some of those just for fun, like a Monday one, and try to like, hey, maybe people are looking for it. I'm gonna try game the YouTube system or whatever a couple times with hot topics or whatever, so I learn a little more. 11 viewers or 10 viewers. Thank you very much for making it. And if you are enjoying, please consider hitting that like button for me and us. This is 10 of them. This is like 10 of us together. I can't even believe it. So we appreciate that. And I don't know, just thanks for joining us. A good number of you have come back many a time. So thank you very much.
There's Chris Topher I'm from Germany, and I've seen lots of my own country because of COVID. Some spots I've never thought of visiting, but I've really enjoyed. And that's the thing. Sometimes you can just find some really amazing places without really sort of, if you take the time and just go for a wander, you can actually find some really interesting little hidey holes to visit.
That's one of the things I do really dig about America is because it's so big, or the U.S. I should say, but it's America in general because is that you can go a lot of places where there's not a lot of people. So in like different terrain, if you're just into little, like, I just love nature, so to see different like groups of plants or this or that, and just in the US you can go and see a huge swath of different stuff, you know what I mean, like a couple different deserts, you got the big woodlands, you got they're like northern rainforests, but they basically have rainforests and everything here, and rocky coast and like all that stuff. So that is one of the cool things I enjoy is like, you can go see a lot of different terrain,
Yeah. Well, you've got everything really, haven't you?
It would be interesting. Alaska blows my mind. They'll do like a couple shows and they're like, they go way up in Alaska, like after it melts, and like way high up there's like nothing really, but it's like this beautiful terrain they show, and there's like no trees because in the winter, everything gets scrubbed down with snow and ice and all that. But
Massachusetts was actually named for the tribe that was there. They have developed several unique things like longhouses, like the Norse for cold weather, and even a flag. Which is quite. It was comedian Eddie Izzard, in one of his earlier shows, had a whole skit about how England took over the world with the cunning use of flags. Just going along into someone's country, going, "Hi, we're the English. We have a flag. We own you now." Pretty much. He's also enjoying the new sister stuff, which you've already mentioned. Toffee Trolls from Sweden. Hello, Sweden.
Oh, Sweden.
Human ID, Connecticut. Hello. And grew up in Texas. And Toffee Troll, he's seen it. He's seen it. He goes, "Do you have a flag?"
Keep everyone busy for a second. I will be right back. I'm gonna do some puppy stuff.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, the Eddie is. I absolutely loved Eddie Izzard. His earlier stuff was just hilarious. But you can't have our country. There's like hundreds of millions of us here. But do you have a flag? And I'm reinforcing this with my gun. I'm actually in Fall River, but everyone knows Boston. Yeah, everybody knows Boston. Boston Red Sox. Woo! It is Red Sox, isn't it? And Cheers. That's from the English perspective. I'm trying to think what else do I know from about Boston. No, that's Philadelphia. I only know Boston for Cheers and yes. Oh, Red Sox, and also Fringe, the TV series Fringe, I think was in Boston, or something to do with Boston. I'm not 100% sure. I will be stand corrected if I am wrong. And Boston Dynamics? No, something. I'm making stuff up now about where you live. Video. But yes, thank you for everybody for joining us and telling us where you live. I'm in, I would say sunny Essex, but the sun's going down at the moment. So, yes, if you're unaware where Essex is, it's just right of London, which is at the south of England. Yes, so it's not even in the capital city. Who knows? We could have had a different capital city many years ago when the Romans were here, but things changed.
Boston. All right, back. Let's do this.
Tommy Trouble, who am I, by the way? Or is that in general, or was that Eddie Izzard? John Cena, isn't he from Boston? Oh, Jesus, yes. Yeah, Harvard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. What?
Yeah, what's it? Harvard bar, as what's his face? Ben Affleck would say in Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, they laid it on pretty thick in Good Will Hunting. I did like the movie.
It's one of my top films. It's a film that I can just watch without ever being bored of it, because I just absolutely love. Obviously Robin Williams in it is just amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was good all the way around. I thought a lot of good.
And the thing is, they will. Well, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote the bloody thing.
Yeah,
and that's the crazy thing. They wrote it and then they starred in it, and that basically, the one out of
their careers. Yeah.
Oh, me. Oh, I'm just a guy that likes building Titans. Stuff.
He's an integral part of this whole effort because
I'm just an alcoholic Englishman. There's a lot of us around with possible. Actually, you're Sweden, aren't you? Yeah. So, for all you know, I could be descended from one of your lot. Out in Essex, when the Norse and the Danes came over, and Swedish, of course, they settled in Anglia, and Essex is part of Anglia. So, yes, you never know. Oh yeah, The Departed as well, King Crimson. Yeah, that was a badass film. And honestly, I got confused between Mark Wahlberg and what's his face? Was it Leo or was it
Oh
Matt?
yeah, wait, it was Leo, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Leo in that one.
Yeah. They all look the same.
Yeah.
Who is it? Is it Mark Wahlberg or is it Leo? It could be either.
Yeah, Toffee Troll. I have a project right now when I kit bash a Gorgonaut and a Chaos Titan. That'll be pretty intense. If
Well,
you ever show that, make sure to tag me. I don't know if you're on Twitter or not, but make sure to tag me if you do.
yeah, orcs do like their uh, just taking whatever. Because the thing I love about orcs is, apart from they're absolutely crazy,
Yeah.
is that they can make stuff out of anything,
So that's what I love about them too. It's
and
like
it will
unlimited
work.
modeling.
Yeah. So it's like the whole thing about like the shock attack gun, which is my absolutely favouriteest thing
Yeah.
ever. Um, we've got a gun that can make a little teleportation tunnel through the warp, and we will send snotlings down it. They'll go in green, and they'll come out white, and they'll just rip the shreds out of everything. Yeah, and it's like they don't understand how it works. It just works.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
Gotta love our mass holes.
So wait, okay, wait. One thing, since I don't know if anyone in here even knows it, but Cursed City, what is kind of the theme? I think there was like someone who turns into a vampire or something, or generally along those lines, and takes over some kind of city or something. I don't know. I didn't read much about it. I seen a little, but I kind of don't know what the deal is with Cursed City. I know it's like, obviously they're kind of new release thing, and it is, I believe it's a game of it itself. That's
Yeah,
changed a lot since I played. Is they release a lot of, I guess, games or whatever now.
yeah. It's like Blackstone Fortress, and well, there's just loads of them. They're like
Yeah,
little,
that's what I was surprised.
but they do these little mini games that is like little introductions for
Hmm.
younger players to hook them into the hobby, but also give you really great looking models because. So
Yeah,
that's the thing about Curse City and Blackstone Fortress. The models they have in them are really like rather awesome. Like the sculpts in particular. So a lot of people buy them purely for the models. Um, it's like trying to think what the ones I bought.
okay, so that makes sense. The models, it might appeal to everyone, but if you weren't big into the game, maybe you want the models, and if it's for someone new, you can play the game. And he
mm,
says it's like Mordenheim. I can dig it.
yeah, so it's its own self-contained little thing, but most people are buying them for the models.
Yeah.
Uh, I have several friends who have got hold of one, but they probably won't play the game. They might do, probably won't know.
Yeah.
Um, it's like with like the oh, the Betrayal at Calf box set for the Heresy and the Prospero
Oh yeah.
box set they brought out was also a game. So the models that you got in it were for the game they had in the box, but most people just bought the boxes because of the great value
Yeah.
of the models that you got in there. Because 30 Space Marines, some Terminators, or
Oh yeah.
Dreadnought.
You start doing all that, it adds up. And if you're
Mm.
trying to get a lot done or anything, it counts. Uh,
Ross.
that's what Humanity. Hey, thanks for joining us again.
Oh yeah, because Humanides, she's actually painted up some of the Blackstone Fortress models, as far as I'm aware. I do believe I am not mistaken in that declaration I've just made. So
You, all I know, uh, she tweeted out the other day, and the tree outside the window, and it had a nice, like, it was such a zen the workplace for painting. It was like this nice paints, and I was looking out the window at the beautifully colored trees, and like everything was kind of like color coordinated in the layout. I was like, oh man, and here I am, like I'm in a lazy boy. And I just finally replaced the table. I'm like, oh gosh, hers is like all this nice, beautiful layout and Zen, and I'm like stuck in a corner here. I'm like, all right, I need to improve my situation. I did buy. I think I said it last week. There was it was on sale because it was a display model, and it had like the table that a table I wanted, and then it had like a shelving system, kind of like you hang it and put all the shelves. So it was like, and it was on sale, like I think it was like almost $650. I got it for like less than 200. So I was like, sold. I'm like, I'll get the value. They got me on the value buy. So so I got that in there. I didn't hang the shelves yet. I'm hoping tomorrow I'll hang the shelves and get that done, because I want to just get out some of my books. And I was like, oh, for models, it'll be a nice little section I can have here. And a couple people have sent me models and stuff, so I want to put them up there for me to look at and everything. So it'll be my project for the week.
Yeah, I've got to tidy up my hobby space. To be honest, I haven't really done much hobby in the last couple of weeks. I've been repainting trim on some of my Titans, just going over with some contrast paint over the existing, basically, to make them look more to the artwork they brought out for the Legio Ignatum. But apart from that, I haven't really done a lot. That will probably change after this weekend, when I'm hopefully getting all the stuff I ordered from the pre-order last weekend.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, when the whole Titan setup might come.
Yes, this hopefully, if my plan is, if it turns up Saturday, I might actually do a stream on the Forge of Mars, my YouTube.
Oh yeah,
of building a War Master, because
that's kind of cool. I would come check that out.
yeah, it was literally, well, it's building one, because it's apparently got like 297 parts, which
Oh boy,
is quite a lot. Because I think the Warlord has just over half that. So I'll probably do that. If it turns up Saturday, I'll do it Saturday night. If it turns up Monday, I'll probably do it Monday night. Depends when it all turns up, because I've ordered from Games Workshop and a friendly local gaming store, which isn't exactly local, but it was online. So whoever gets there first will get name checked.
Wait, you ordered 2 of them?
Ordered 3.
I'm teamed up with the right person for the show. Yes, like, what does he do? Yeah, he's the one who knows more about the actual game than me.
So my because basically for Christmas, I wanted, I knew that box sets and models were coming out. Didn't know exactly when, so I said I'll have Games Workshop vouchers. And so I got basically about £200 worth of Games Workshop vouchers, and I get a bit of a Christmas bonus from my work, which is about £150.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been sitting on that for 4 months.
Oh, see, okay, patience
for my Christmas to turn up. So Christmas has turned up in April for me. So
that's
that went.
It is. I think it's probably a good psychological treat at this point too. After a bunch of lockdowns, and then you're just switching back to go to work and all that. So it is kind of something a little bit to look forward to.
And to make things even better is that next month is my birthday.
Yeah.
So I got three War Masters and 2 of the new Maniple sets, and the new Legio's book is winging its way to me from 2 different places. So that should keep me occupied for a little while.
Yeah,
hopefully.
No doubt. That's the other thing. I always have to be careful now, because like hanging out with everyone, like talking with you, I want a bunch of stuff I'm not going to use right now. So I was like, I see everyone's tight, and I'm getting like brainwashed. I keep seeing your stuff. I'm like, oh gosh, you'll post all. I'm like, that looks so cool, and a game, play with all those or anything. And I'm like, all right, don't just don't do anything yet. Like paint some of what you have, and then think about it. So it's like this. It's an exercise in discipline.
Well, that's the thing. Lockdown helped me out finish off what my grey pile of shame in
Yeah.
regards to like my Necrons from Indomitus and all Titans and Knights that I had sitting around.
You seem to get a lot done with that. You get a lot of work done with
If,
that.
yeah, it's weird. It's like I can go very slovenly where
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't do much, but if I get into what I like to call the zone,
yeah.
um, I'm just doing stuff and then posting it up, and everyone's going, "Stop it! Stop it! You're going too fast!" And ruining everybody's time. I actually become quite self-conscious about posting stuff up because, like, I have friends that they take their time with their painting, and and I just
Yeah,
go, "Here's another 10 Necron warriors. I done
yeah.
them in 4 hours," and people get annoyed with me, so I hide.
I love. There's a couple people in the Patreon and in the Discord that paint pretty quick. Bad posture paint. We were just hanging out in Discord, and he painted. He does a lot with sponge and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, yes, like. I think I'm gonna take after that route, especially when I first start painting again. I think I'm gonna live stream. So I bought that. We talked last week. I bought that subscription thing, and I think I might, when I get those, try to do like the most basic paint job. Like, hey, here's this marine, and then like just paint it just to paint it. And I was like, I'll stream the first one in like 20 some 30 years or whatever that I painted. I'm like, we can watch this together because I'm gonna be cracking up. I gotta have to get a magnifying glass or something. So,
Uh, I've basically, with my painting style, I've evolved into my mythology. It's not that I am a fast painter, but it's not that I'm fast. It's that I'm very efficient at what I do,
mhm.
and I'll always try and find the easiest workaround.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because if I do something and I find it is too time consuming or too
yeah.
there's just too much to it, I will lose interest in it. So I've got to basically find that sort of that perfectly balanced paint scheme
Makes
that
complete
I
sense to
do,
me.
yeah, and basically just bang, bang, bang. And that's how I am. It's not that I'm fast. I'm just very efficient at what I do. So when I'll do like if I'm painting like those Necrons that I was doing recently, like the Necron warriors,
Hmm.
I'll do one part of their do bit, and then as that bit's drying, I'm painting something else on the model, which then it's like a typewriter. I go
Yeah.
back, back, and that's how I get through them quickly. Because you're all painting the same thing, like batch painting,
Yeah,
but
and once you get that little rhythm, you kind of know, hey, it's like brush strokes like this on this little piece, so you almost kind of know, hey, repeat that. You've already learned it on a couple of the models, and then you get a little quicker when you touch a couple more. It makes
yeah.
sense to me.
And I was just saying, Fabi Z, he didn't know I had a YouTube channel. I've only got 4 videos up there, which are my sort of my cheat videos. Well, not to say cheat, is how I paint certain Titans or do stripes.
Hmm.
Uh, because there's like one Titan Legio in particular, or actually 2, sorry. The Legio Solaria, which have this very funky green mottled armor, and the Legio Audax, which have this like black, but it's got this red sort of styling, non-pattern pattern to it, which I've done videos for, and because I like to sort of match up with the artwork,
Yeah,
so you see like Forge World spend all this time and Specialist Games doing all this wonderful artwork for Adeptus Titanicus,
yeah.
I see that, and then my mind just goes, right, if I do this and if I do that and do that, and then throw it into a bucket and bang, and it's done. Uh, and it looks good, but it's easy to do. So it does make a huge difference, because sometimes when you get like a paint scheme, you see something and it's just so over the top and intricate, it sort of puts the fear of God into you.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I wouldn't want to tangle with something. I just know me well. Like for me personally, and I mean, what, I'm late 40s, and I just learned like it took me that long to know when I started doing these paint overs. I'm like, do them quick. I'm like, that's it. Like, get over your fear of like, oh, I gotta have it perfect, and you're afraid. And I was like, just do them fast and like concentrate on that. I'm like, you do a million of anything, you get better. You know what I mean? So I was like, just start, go. And that was one of the things like even the community really helped me with, because it was just like, hey, showing a time lapse and showing that got me more comfortable with putting it out there. It's like, hey, go and do it. And wow, like I said, I'm at least close to like 400, if not over that right now. So it's like, yeah, you'll learn a lot doing that. And what's funny is I feel like I've got a grasp to my approach now. I mean, like after how many of these, but I'm like, man, I still got to learn so much. I'm always like, how am I? And a lot of it is technique, because I never really did any kind of photo retouching type stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm like trying to build like some technique, and theoretically I should be watching some more stuff on YouTube of other artists and how they're approaching stuff, just to get different ideas and that, which I am going to kind of start doing now.
But
Keep
and that's the
branching
whole
out.
beauty about the hobby and YouTube, and like even like Twitch as well, sort of
Mhm.
thing, where you can watch somebody else painting. And sometimes, yes, you can't. Everybody has their own style.
Exactly.
You know, like I was given from a friend. He asked me to paint up some Skitari for him, like about 40 Skitari, and I went,
Yeah.
yeah, no problem, because I'd already done Skitari.
Yeah.
But when I got the stuff sent through, it had like two guys in there that were already painted, and I said like, so these painted dudes, what were they for?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I want them painted like that, and I'm like, okay, um, right, and I couldn't replicate how he
Yeah.
painted them,
Yeah.
and it's I in the end I had to send it back to him. I wasn't charging him anything for it anyway, but I had to give them back because I couldn't do it. It's like asking like Michelangelo to paint like Picasso, sort of thing, or vice versa. Everyone has their own. They might be able to get near to it, but it won't be Michelangelo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, not that I'm comparing myself to the great masters, of course, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you have
Whatever.
your
Those great
style.
masters couldn't make things sparkle like I can, or hit the undo button. So
There you
whatever.
go. See, that's the thing.
Noobs.
I just realised you have sparkle. That's your word. Mine
Yeah.
is
They ain't tossing sparkles out like it's no thing.
W
Toffee
sparkle.
Troll, thanks for joining. This is Toffee Trolls. Does that name the same on Twitter? Are you the same name on Twitter, Toffee Troll? Cool model. I like this model, and I dig the paint work. It kind of reminded me of like an oil painting, so I'm kind of trying to mimic a little bit of like an oil painting kind of soft background with it, just to be in there. I don't know if I'm a little busy on this or not, but when I think like, I don't know, it's 40K, especially like Cursed City or anything with the undead, it's kind of like a muddled, almost muddy and stuff. I don't see it as clean as some other things, as even like Space Marines or whatever. So I guess that's kind of what my thought process is when trying to like. I'm obviously trying to use. I like to use the colors that the person has to establish it and makes it more rooted in there. But yeah, and so thank you, Toffee Troll, for like even submitting it and liking and all that stuff on Twitter. I appreciate that.
No, so he's a really nice looking model as well, because
Mm-hmm.
he's just got that sort of presence, and the way it's
Yeah, it
painted is
does, and it's straight
really
on, but
helps.
I don't like that's. I was looking at it and trying to break down just for my own self the other day of just why I like this model. I think part of it was, so it's got like these interesting angles. So you got this and you got a decent shape. You even got his arm over here. And then they kind of break it with this. But I was checking it out and trying to figure out, why do you actually like it? And I was getting this composition out of it. I look, I fanboy out over composition. I don't even know why. It's like I don't even really talk to anybody about it. But like, oh, this is awesome when I see like some model or some photo of something. And
Mm.
I really enjoyed, their design sense on this mini with that just straight on. Even though it's straight on and kind of standing, they were able to capture like good, I guess, movement. You would say.
Yeah, I was when you was looking through the pictures yesterday, and you saw my Titanicus pictures, and you said, "Oh, that night there." And I when I posted the picture of my Megara night, I just knew that would just like tweak your interest because of the angle of the photograph of looking at the night. And
Yeah.
then you justified my faith in you by saying, "Oh, I really like that." What we got on here? So we've got a few people. Well, obviously Crimson. He likes to take his time on each guy. It seems I only paint the ones he likes. So like 3 guys out of a whole squad will get done. Except Stone Guard, they're the best box. Definitely want to get some Indomitus Primaris and kit bash them together. Yeah, I do enjoy Primaris. I do prefer them because they're the size. It's just, I just do. Um, Human ID, I usually overthink everything, but I'm getting better at not doing that. Yeah. I was speaking to somebody before about
Keep going. I'll
don't
be right.
don't be don't be scared about painting and just don't try not to think about it. But um, if you're painting something and you make a mistake, you've made a mistake. Just keep going. You can go back to it. Because there's nothing worse than getting yourself sort of agitated and worked up over worry. Oh no, I'll put that on there. You can handle it. You can go back to it. You can deal with it. Just get through that phase, and then say this is how I always work myself. It's that I'll do something, and then I'll have a look around. Sometimes I miss stuff, and I don't notice it until I take a photograph and posted it onto Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or wherever, and then you go, I've missed that bit, and you just go back to it. Because I have lots of friends who are they're so sort of determined to get it sort of perfect first time. It has a negative effect on how they paint because they're just being overcautious. It's a model. You can go, a little bit mental and just go for it. And if you do make a mistake, as I said, you just go back to it later and tidy it up. And you just try to train yourself into that sort of mindset, and it makes hobbying a lot less stressful in the long run. At Crimson, yeah, I'm a perfectionist, but if I don't do something perfect for the first time, I get discouraged, and painting is helping there. Again, just don't fear making mistakes. Sometimes I've made mistakes when painting models, and then I think, hold on a sec, this is actually it gives it a little bit more depth or a little bit more character to the actual model by having that little, where I've misput some lead belcher or something onto a vehicle or Titan or whatever, and is actually enhanced the story of that model. I've obviously tidied up around it or added some wash and just to sort of break it up or whatever. But sometimes, these little mistakes can actually help with the creation of realism with your painting.
All I heard was the little mistakes can add to the reels of the painting, and so true. It's one of the reasons I sketch really rough is because a lot of times it's like, what did Bob Ross call them? Happy accidents.
Yeah,
And
and
a lot
Bobby
of things spring forth. Yeah, absolutely.
it's, it is so hard trying to sort of retrain mind to do something that's against your nature.
And sorry about that, Toffee Troll. Thanks for correcting me. He said this is not. It wasn't his skeleton. You know what? I'm gonna look right online now to see who's it.
Whose model are you painting now?
I botched that one. So that's the. Okay, wait. Let me look. Go to my profile. I'm gonna find. Oh, it is Lee Cheney on Twitter. Who's wow, Leroy Brown Hugh 9. But yeah, he's on there. You can see him in the tweet thread. Oh, I wanted to. So I'll give a quick shout out. This place, Zealot Miniatures, they hired me to do a paint over, and I'm gonna dig this. So one of the things I wasn't familiar with them before, and there's gonna be 4 of them, and their miniatures are really good. So I looked at these, I was like, wow, these are cool. Because I didn't know until they contacted me, and then they put these on, and I thought they were just phenomenal looking miniatures. And they got quite a few at the website. So I'm kind of doing like I think I have permission to show. They didn't say not to, but I thought these, like, look at this. This one is just kind of so cool looking to me. So I'm doing this one kind of for a header, and I wanted to give them that they could use for a header, and that yet each one of them could be broken down to be posted separately. So I'm like, okay, you're paying me. I'm going to try to maximize your like value. You know what I mean? Like, hey, get the header, and then I'll try to do it so you can have each one kind of separate, yet they're linked. And so the background's just really roughed in, but I was just kind of blocking in color and stuff. But I'm excited for this one, and I just wanted to give them a quick shout out. Thanks for the commission, and they have cool stuff. So that's one of the things I really dig about what's going on now is a lot of creative types are really getting a chance to, show off their skills and everything from 3D and painting and sculpting. And the other thing I was digging about the 3D prints is the fact that you can scale them up. You can make something twice the scale instantly. I forget who it was online. They're making upsized like enforcers and Necromunda. And I was like, that's really cool.
I would say that second one from the left with the club. When I saw that, the first thing that came to my mind was, "Hey, you guys!"
Yeah. It's great like that. Yeah, this thing is really cool. I'm like, that's a serious sculpt. Like there's a lot going on in that. The skin on the neck and that chin and everything. I love it. Huh.
No, there's nothing wrong with sparkles, Humanoidy.
Yes.
No problem with sparkles whatsoever. And I'm not afraid of catching glitter. Toffee Trolls, his was the Orc War boss with the battle wagon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, so that one. I gotta get that is this one. I'm still not done. This one.
Ooh.
I'm working on that. Want like some good old orc action.
Yes, orcs are cool.
And wait, okay, so we might be, I think we'll end up wrapping up here somewhat soon. You gotta go cause some havoc, don't you?
Yeah. Our third session of our new role-play game. It's a game called Monsters of the Week. So it's a bit like Supernatural meets Hellboy and other
that's right.
stuff. So it's actually been quite fun. It's because our guy who was running Dungeons and Dragons is overworked for the computer company he works for. So we're doing something differently from another guy who's running whilst he's having a break and trying to sort out his projects.
Oh, good.
Hopefully have some fun.
I want to add a little of the skeleton, and I always end up going back. in the evening, I kind of sit and be like, oh, what did I miss? What did I miss? Because I was like, talking or not really paying attention. I usually do a few little touch ups on it. Oh, wait. Does anyone know this? When is Westworld coming back? Does anyone know that?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I
No.
didn't think about that till I don't even know why that popped in my head right now.
Well, so normally you ask a thing about TV, and I normally give you an answer. But
Yeah.
I've not. I've actually something I've been watching recently, which is on Apple Apple Plus
Yeah.
channel. It's called C, and it has Jason Momoa in it, and basically it's in the future, but everyone's blind.
Oh, what's funny? Yeah, I ended up watching. I'm on the second episode. I think of that actually.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll just give it a try because sometimes instead of just going back and rewatching stuff, I
Mm-hmm.
thought I'll explore all these channels that I've got access to. So I've watched. I think I've been on about 7 or 8 episode, and
Okay.
it's grown on me.
Okay.
And there's good little fighty bits in there as well. It's quite fun.
Um, I don't know if you watched. So on Apple, I ended up buying. What did I get? One of those M1 Max. So I got like a free year of Apple TV with it when I was like, oh, cool. But I love the show. Was Jason Sudeikis, the one where he's a coach.
Ted Lasso.
Oh man, I can't wait for the second season. It's one of my favorite shows out right now. I'm like, okay, and it just it's something different. You know what I mean? And it's kind of got like a good like energy to it.
Well, funnily enough, that character he done a little skit about 8 years ago, and it was tied. Well, I'm not sure if it was originally tied with my football team that I support,
Yeah.
Hotspur, but they done this thing where Ted Lasso was the new manager of Tottenham Hotspur, and you see him at the training ground. And basically, I think it was like in the first episode, they just rehashed it for the team that he took over in that. But as an entertainment, that is, if you can get and watch Ted Lasso, it is totally worth. You will not be disappointed. It's just fantastic and it's
See,
beautiful.
that's what I thought too.
It's got a lovely, lovely little thing to it. And Ted Lasso is the best football manager, be it American football out there. I want him back at Tottenham.
Yeah, and I liked that the characters had what I thought was good development. They had personality. They weren't total like I don't know stereotypes or whatever. It was good. You could root for a whole bunch of the characters in different ways, even though a lot of them are kind of flawed or whatever. And it wasn't like they're not trying to be anything crazy or anything. I don't know. It's good storytelling and like. I think I've watched it like twice already, and I kind of want to watch it again just to kind of pay attention to I love storytelling, and I just want to like really like why is this working so much to me type thing.
It really is a well done
Biscuits
series.
with the boss.
Yeah,
biscuits with the boss.
those little biscuits he makes that he brings into her, sort of thing, and she's like, "Where does he get these from?" And she's trying to hunt out because they're just absolutely delicious. But yeah, it's just that nice sort of like how sort of naive and innocent he is in some respect, which especially like when he's dealing with us Brits.
The dart scene is one of my favorite. Oh, we won't ruin it for anyone, but
no.
I like the darts.
But no, it's just say you've got some great characters in there, and and he plays Ted Lasso really, really, really well.
I know. I'm probably excited for the next.
He's number 2, who's like a chess master.
Nate the Great. I like Nate the Great.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though that little thing as well with him, how he sort of developed over the
exactly.
Fantastic stuff.
When he had to give his speech in front of everyone, they're like, "Here, say this." I don't know if I should.
Or the truth bomb.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
Yeah. It's unexpected, and it's lovely. Like Graham McNeil actually tweeted about it the other day, saying how he'd watched it and how much he loved it. You know,
Oh, okay.
he
Yeah.
doesn't follow football teams, but he absolutely loved the show. And I know that ADB
Yeah.
also watched it as well, and he just absolutely loved it. So that's our recommendation for this week.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso,
There you go.
Apple Plus.
Yeah. I know there's so many now. Something's going to happen with all that. You know what I mean? Like they're all competing and all that good stuff. So,
Yeah, so much.
well, you think it's probably a good time to end. You probably need to eat something and then go
Yeah, I've
attack
got to
somebody.
cook me some steak.
Good, good. You've earned it, man. Thanks again for helping me host this, and thanks for everyone who joined us. I really appreciate that. I'll end up doing some touch up on these, and then I'll probably post the finish too, like tomorrow or something, and some time lapses. Lee, anything you want to say in closing?
Apologies for the lack of Dune talk. We know with the
Yeah.
now we've got
Well,
so much stuff coming.
I'm gonna read up. I'll do a little Dune research on what's coming next week. So I'll bring a little Dune to it. That'll be my homework. All right,
Excellent.
I am going to end the stream. Thanks again. If you are still here and you didn't happen to hit that like button yet, please do now. Please do now. And I will see you on the millions of what online services I'm on, Instagrams, Twitters, you name it, Patreons, everything else. Have a good day, all.